Perek Beis, Mishnah Hay. We learned previously that according to Beis Hillel, if someone was collecting coins to make up their chatzi shekel, anything which was more than the required chatzi shekel, according to Beis Hillel, was chulin, didn't belong to the Beis HaMikdash. And this is how this Mishnah begins. שקלים chulin. Extra money that was collected and therefore not necessary for the chatzi shekel. Chulin, it's chulin and doesn't belong to the Beis HaMikdash. Now we have a list, also mentioned the idea in the previous Mishnah, where the extra amount of money that's collected belongs to the Beis HaMikdash and is used for an oila when there's a slack period and no korbanos are being brought. Then this money would be used to be able to purchase an oila and offer it. And the list is the following. Moisa asiris ho'efa. Someone is collecting money for a tenth of an ephah, which is being brought for a particular aveira that's reckoned out in the beginning of Vayikra. Or moisa kinei zovin v'kinei zovos, or more than the required amount that is being collected for the pair of birds, pigeons or turtle doves, which are needed for a zov or a zova, certain type of tumah, where a chatos and an ola are brought from these two birds, and more money than required has been collected. Or kinei yoldos, a pair of birds for a lady who just given birth. Kinei yoldos, she couldn't afford an animal plus a bird, and therefore the Torah allows her to bring two birds, again one a chatos and one an ola. Or, continues the Mishnah, v'chatois v'ashomos, any general chatos or an oshom, a guilt offering, specified in the beginning of Vayikra when an oshom is brought. On all these occasions, when there is more money in the kitty, as it were, than necessary, moisro sehem nedova, whatever is extra is given to the Beis HaMikdash and is utilized by the Beis HaMikdash to buy an oila when no korbanos are being brought. Ze haklal, this is the general rule. Kol shehu bo l'shem chatos u'l'shem ashmo, anything that is brought for an aveira, a guilt, to be able to be brought as a guilt offering, but as an chatos or an ashmo, moisron nedava, whatever is extra is brought as a nedava belonging to the Beis HaMikdash, as an oila, but not specifically for this individual. However, moisa oila la oila, if someone is collecting money just for an oila, rather than being coupled, as we mentioned before, a pair of birds, this is just for an oila, then la oila, it must be used by that individual for another oila which the person may want to bring. Moisa mincha la mincha. If there's extra money available, the person is collecting for a mincha offering, then that mincha offering, la mincha, the money should be used for another mincha offering in due course. Moisa shlomim la shlomim. Someone's collecting money for a shlomim and has more than required, it must be used for that individual as a shlomim. Moisa pesach li shlomim. Someone is collecting money for a korban pesach and has more than necessary. Li shlomim, that money will be used as a shlomim, not a korban pesach, but for a shlomim. And as the Bartanur explains, there's a posuk in Parshas Re'eh from which we learn this halacha. Further categories. Moisa nazirim li nazirim. Someone is collecting money for nazirim, a nazir, but for nazirim generally, who may not have the wherewithal, the money, to be able to buy their korbanos, which they bring at the end of their Nazirus. If there's more money than necessary for perhaps certain Nazirim, generally, le Nazirim, that must be kept for future Nazirim for their korbanos. However, Moisa Nozi, if someone is collecting money for himself, le Nozi, he is a Nozi himself and collects more money than necessary, le Nadova, part, the extra amount that's not needed for his korbanos as a Nazir will be used, as we mentioned earlier in the Mishnah, le Nadova, given over to the Beis HaMikdash, and they would buy the oilos that were necessary when the Beis HaMikdash, when no korbanos were being brought. Moiser aniyim la'aniyim, persons collecting generally for aniyim, and more money than necessary at the moment has been collected. That money must still be used for future aniyim. Moiser oni la'oiser oni, but if one's collecting for a particular oni, and one has more money than was actually required at the moment for that oni, la'oiser oni, that money, the extra money that's collected, must be used by that particular oni and given to him. Moiser shvuyim, someone's collecting money for shvuyim, for ransom, to be able to ransom an individual who's in captivity. Whatever's extra not needed for the shvuyim, the shvuyim must still be used for future shavuyim. However, moisa shavui, if you're collecting for a particular shavui, rather than generally for people who are captives, but for a particular person in captivity, to ransom an individual, la'oisa shavui, whatever's extra, still must go to that particular individual because it was collected for him. Moisa hamesim lemesim, people collecting money for mesim, for kavura, for certain individuals who can't afford. It must then be used for future mesim, for the whatever's necessary for future mesim. However, moisa hames, if someone's collecting for a particular individual who passed away, the Tanna Kama says lo yorshov, it goes to that individual, but that person, of course, has passed away. Therefore, it would go to the people inheriting that individual, and therefore, moisa hames lo yorshov. Rav Meir oimer, moisa hames yehi munach ad sheyavo Eliyahu. If there is extra money collected, not needed for this particular mace, for the kavura of that mace, the extra money should be left ad sheyavo Eliyahu, until Eliyahu comes and paskens for us where that money should go. Because there is a machlokas. It's highly embarrassing that an individual doesn't have the money for his own burial. And therefore, if money's collected for him or her, and there's more money collected than necessary, it may be highly embarrassing that that money should therefore be passed on to Yorshim. It's true, the Tanna Kama says, Moisa hames li Yorshov, because the mace doesn't mind that embarrassment if the money is being passed across to his Yorshim, the people inheriting his possessions. But there's a machlokus about that. Rav Meir is unsure whether an individual would want the extra money collected to be passed to the Yorshim because of the embarrassment involved. And therefore Rav Meir says it should be left in abeyance until Eliyahu tells us whether it should go to the Yorshim or not. Rav Nosson says it should not be passed to the Yorshim because of the embarrassment involved. And therefore, what should you do with the extra money collected for the kavora, for the mace of this particular individual? Rav Nosson oimer, moisa mace, boinin loy nefesh al kivrei. One should build a matzeva, a monument, on the kever of this individual, rather than having this money passed on to the Yorshim, because that would be too embarrassing.